All right. Calling City Council meeting, today's date, September 16, 2025. Next, we have the prayer by Pastor David Howell, Inspiration Church. Is Pastor David Howell here? All right. Don't hear him and I don't see him. All right. If you would, bow your heads. Dear gracious Father, we come before you as humble as we know how. Father, we ask that you touch each and every council member here today, touch our entire city. Father, give us the wisdom, courage, and strength to do your will for this entire city. Father, we ask that you come before us as humble as we know how, asking that you give us the most optimal thing, which is wisdom, which is the principal thing, and that we all get our understanding so that we won't have a misunderstanding. So, Father, we thank you right now for what you've already done, what you're going to continue to do in us, through us, and for us. In the name of the Father, Son, and the blessed Holy Spirit. Amen. Amen. Father, please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance of the United States of America. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Councilmember Solomon.
Present.
Councilmember Seaforth.
Present.
Councilmember Swenson.
Present.
Councilmember Suggs.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Hardy.
Present.
All present are accounted for, Madam Clerk. Next, we'll have the citizen comments. Citizens must sign in before the start of the meeting. If they wish to address the City Council, citizens should state their name and address before beginning their comments and may speak up to a maximum of 3 minutes. A maximum of 3 minutes. Citizens seeking assistance or asking questions will be contacted by a member of the governing body or by appropriate city staff. Madam Clerk.
Mayor Hardy,
Yes.
if you don't mind, I shared this before the previous meeting, but I see we have quite a few people signed up for citizen comment tonight. Just want to clarify more for the community that the citizen comment period, you're provided 3 minutes to state your concerns, share your ideas, express your frustrations, whatever you plan to say to the council, you're able to do that at that time. However, the citizen comment period is not designed for a question and answer. So to ensure that you get your full 3-minute period, oftentimes you won't have a member of this body or a member of our staff interrupt you so that you can say whatever is on your mind for those 3 minutes. If you provide us with your contact information, either on the form that you filled out outside in the lobby or during your remarks or after the meeting, someone will follow up with you afterwards to answer your questions or provide a direct response. But I just want to make sure everyone understands that this isn't necessarily a question and answer dialogue because we want you to have your full 3 minutes.
Thank you, Councilmember Suggs. Madam Clerk.
Curtis Henderson.
Hello. Good evening, City Council, Mayor, city officials, and general public. I just came today to speak on what I have going on and what's coming up.
Ms. Hudson, don't forget your name and address.
I didn't say that. Excuse me. My name is Curtis Henderson, and I come representing Hope to Destiny for Youth. We are a nonprofit organization geared towards educating our youth on gun violence, gang violence, and substance abuse. Our motto is Stop the Abuse. Now, last month, we gave out book bags and school supplies to all the kids, and I'd like to thank everyone who contributed to that. And now we have coming up in November the 1st, but from now, starting today, September the 16th through October the 31st, we are having a coat drive. And I'm asking the council and officials and the general public if they would donate new coats or slightly worn coats. And drop-off point is 611 North McElwain Street, which is my shop, Unique Fashions. That's the drop-off point, and we're going to collect them from now until August the 31st, and then on November the 1st, we're going to pass them out to the public. We're collecting adult coats and children coats, because as you know, a lot of kids and adults don't have a coat. So if you have extra coats or you don't mind buying a couple coats to drop off to me at Unique Fashions, and it will be greatly appreciated. And that'll do it. I thank you for your time.
All right, thank you, sir. Madam Clerk.
Gwendolyn Woods.
Good evening. My name is Gwendolyn Woods. I stay 307 West Blount Street. I am coming to talk about this lovely property tax here that we were giving. I'm just not understanding. I'm not understanding how 3 years ago, my property where they wanted to buy it was $13,000. I was like, it's not for sale. So after that, I ain't thought nothing of. I'm still making my nice $421 a year for my little taxes. But I get this lovely letter that says my payment is due by the 1st, $1,778.31. I'm trying to understand how. It doesn't add up. It doesn't make sense. I stay 307 West Blount Street, 309 and 3011 is vacant. 311 got a tree growing up in it. So when I went down there to the city and I talked to the lady and I said, ma'am, I can't pay this. She looked it up and everything and she said, I said, it says it's due by the 1st. She said, well, they give you 5 days to the field. I said, what? So she called Mr. Luke, and he took me in that nice office, and we began to talk. So he showed me on the screen and stuff, and he didn't go like in the neighborhood. He went broad spectrum out. And I was like, but that ain't got nothing to still do with this right here because that's a lot. So he told me to wait till next year and bring, different stuff. I'm just still not understanding. And then I noticed y'all talking about the lights going down. I work for the North County of Agents, and I got one particular lady. I got a lot of them, but it's kind of getting me. You got older people that is paying their rent, but they don't have enough to sustain them. This particular lady that I take care of, her light bill is so high, it doesn't even make sense. It's ridiculous to me. I could go in there and clean her house, right? And I could clean her kitchen. When I go back the next week, all of these dishes. Why? Because her light bill is so high. Her water is so high till she's in like a tizzy. And I'm like, I gotta wash these dishes. And she's juggling. And that bothers me when you don't pay your rent, when you don't pay your light bill, when you got to look at medicine. She ain't got food. That's why I'll cook them something. She ain't the only one.
Thank you, Ms.
That
Woods.
bothers me. I'm sorry.
Yes, ma'am. Madam Clerk.
Patricia Patterson.
My name is Patricia Patterson. I live at 604 Girl Scout Road, and I've lived in Kinston for over 70 years. I remember when the city thrived and when we had tobacco factories, manufacturing industries, and downtown was filled with well-known businesses. South Queen Street flourished with locally owned small business, all parks and community centers such as Holloway, Emmerwell Park, the swimming pools, the basketball courts, and the tennis courts were well-maintained and filled with kids and activities. I also remember when these factories shut down. Jobs were lost, income dropped, and many people were forced to leave Kinston to find work other places. Since then, disasters like hurricanes, floods have only made things even worse, pushing our city in further decline. Today, we are still struggling with poverty, limited job opportunities, high crime rates. I don't believe there's a single person here who doesn't want to see Kinston rebuilt. We wouldn't be here if we didn't care. We pay our taxes, we pour into our local economy through utilities, grocery stores, shopping, and more. I'm not against reasonable tax increases. If it means improving, like the police department, the fire department, or fixing our streets. I also support an increase in property values when it builds equity to the homeowners. But I do question the timing of such a large increase in property values, which has caused a steep rise in our property taxes, with no real growth in job opportunities, and so many residents are on fixed incomes without any means to pay this significant increase. So I ask you, are you really trying to rebuild this city? Or are we taking it deeper into where people cannot pay any taxes or live? And I think that you guys are our representatives, and I want to know who's standing up for us. I've been paying taxes since my time is up.
Thank you, Ms. Patterson. Madam Clerk.
Llewellyn Woods, is that name correct?
I'm Llewellyn Woods, 417 Pollard Street. I didn't know I was going to be speaking tonight. I've been a little more prepared. But I am concerned about the 4% tax decrease. When I saw it and heard about it, it was like a slap in the face. I was thinking about maybe 40%, not 4%. Because when I considered, when you multiply a 4%, it's very little. I can understand someone paying $600 or $500 taxes, but that was my concern about that. I also had some concerns sitting there thinking, why would a meeting start at 5:30, 5 o'clock, instead of 6 or 7? A lot of parents are just getting off work. They have to pick up the kids from daycare, homework, and they're not going to make it to the meeting. And I was expecting more people to turn out. And I do have concerns that we do need more representatives to represent us as a group in the city to help make decisions about what we're going to bring and what we need in our city. And that's all I have right now.
Thank you, Madam.
Earl W. Holmes.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm still talking about taxes and stuff. I received
State your name and your address.
My name is Earl Holmes, 2224 Hawthorne Avenue, Kinston. I'm here to talk tonight about the high taxes and also about the trash cleanup and stuff. The taxes and stuff, when I first received the letter months ago and stuff, and it moved my house from $45,000 to $150,000 and stuff, I went straight to the tax paper and started talking to folks, and I compared all the houses in the neighborhood and stuff, and showed them, saying, look, all these rental houses, and I'm the only one owning a house, and he was telling me the houses was rated as Fs and stuff, and I'm the only one got a, what you call a C rating in the neighborhood and stuff. I'm saying, ain't the house based on the neighborhood, not just by my house and stuff? But anyway, I went again when he told me at the tax place that they were going to send me, there was going to be another evaluation and stuff, and it probably won't be that high. But now I got the original bill, and it's still $150,000 and stuff. Didn't change and stuff. Now, I'm a disabled veteran 100%. Before, the VA paid $45,000. Now, the $45,000 that VA pays is like it disappeared. I'm paying almost $1,500 now, where I was paying about $80 before, and VA paid the first $45,000 and stuff. So I got almost $1,500 increase. I done been back and talked to them again. I know y'all can't answer my question. The other thing I want to talk about is the trash cleanup and stuff. Where I live at, first of all, we got regulations that $20, $25 fines, I think, if you don't pull your trash can back. I believe in the area I live in, everybody in the whole neighborhood got the trash can left at the road, except me and stuff. I try to pull them back and push them out. Why don't you take that $25 and that would lower my taxes and stuff. That's one thing you can do. And the other thing that you could do is the guy that cleans the street. And I realize that contractors do a lot of work and say the city can't pick this garbage up and stuff. And I calls all the time and stuff. But it seemed like to me, if garbage is in the street, the city should be responsible, even if they have to give somebody else the bill. And so you shouldn't just ride by. We got a pile of trash that's been on Locksburg Road, and it floods there. Every time it rains, it floods, the whole street floods. I got pictures in my phone. The water's 4 feet high at least, close to it, right there, because it can't drain. And it's been like that for years. And so, and the other
Thank you,
thing-
Mr. Holmes. Thank you, Mr. Woods. Correction, Mr.
thank you.
Holmes. Madam Clerk.
I think this is Theodore Mock or Moy.
Me and him live in the same part, so what he said is the same thing I'm gonna say.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Theo.
Is that Theodore Moy or Moore? Mock? Moore. All right, thank you. Patricia Luciano?
Good evening, everyone. Recently moved to Kinston, so I'm a newer resident, and when I got our tax bill, I was like, I'm sorry, Patricia Luciano, 430 Tillman Mill Road in Kinston. I was just curious if this was a tax rate increase, or is it based solely on the reassessment, reevaluation of homes? And I'm wondering, did every home get reevaluated, or is it a pick and choose type of thing? And if so, is there a giant project earmarked for all these funds for this large increase that I don't know about? And that's pretty much my concern is why the big increase and what does it involve? What do we have to look forward to, if anything? You know, is it roads, schools, new business, factories? So if somebody could let me know the reason why that, I would appreciate it, and that's pretty much my concern. Thank you.
Sammy Aiken?
Mr. Aiken, give me just a second. If you have a cell phone on, please turn it on vibrate or silence, please. Mr. Aiken.
Good evening, Council, Mayor, citizens of Kinston, staff. My name is Sammy Aiken. I live at 2718 Hodges Road. Just like everybody else, I feel the pain of taxes. My insurance my mortgage went from $950 to $1,200, and my insurance went up about $1,000. My taxes went up about $1,000. But the reason I'm here today is I'm the chairperson of the Afro-American Heritage Commission of Kinston, Lenore Incorporated. There's another organization, there's a splinter group called Afro-American Heritage of Lenore. We are the nonprofit. We're the ones that have a 501c3. But we're having our 8th annual Funk Festival. It will be held September the 27th, Saturday, September the 27th at Lenore Community College. You all are cordially invited. And this year we're having a 70s theme. So some of my people went to the beauty world and got some Afro wigs, and people went to the Salvation Army looking for vintage clothes to wear in the 70s style. So this will be a fun evening. We're honoring Mr. Chief Warrant Officer Robert L. Brown, and we're honoring trumpeter Curtis Pope. The entertainment for that day would be Soulful Funky Devotion. They're out of the Eastern North Carolina, so they'll be performing. We're having a Best Dress contest, and we're having a Soul Train Line dance contest. This event is an evening of fun, got food, heavy hors d'oeuvres. So we want the people to come out. I know people are stressed out and all, but this would be a good time for you all to come on out and let your hair down. I think Michael Jackson said something, leave the 9 to 5 on the shelf and come and enjoy yourself, something like that. But again, it's Saturday, the 27th at LCC, Lenore Community College, and you all are cordially invited. Thank you.
Madam Clerk.
16.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Aiken.
Sharon Shepherd.
Good evening, I'm Sharon Shepherd. I live at 505 Lockspur Road, Kinston. I have several concerns. The main one today is the taxes. As people were speaking, the taxes had increased 300%. So we'll say 500 to 1,500. And that is extremely high for this Kinston. When I first moved here, I noticed that Kinston was one of the poorest counties there are. I don't know, has that changed where we are on that spectrum as of yet? But my concern is the taxes are so high. Are we trying to price people out of their homes? Because there are many people that cannot afford to pay their taxes. And as the young lady said, people don't even have lights. It's sad in this town. So, another concern is the appeal process. When you go on the website, it says that the appeal was closed, I think it was May 1st. And then they said they sent out a letter. When you go there, they said they sent the letter out in February. I never received a letter. People I talked to never received a letter. So that's something that I feel should be addressed. And then on the tax bill, it also states that you have 30 days with a written notice to appeal. So if the process is closed already, what is it? What is really the appeal process? And will our properties be reassessed by requesting that? Another concern is I live right behind Teachers Memorial. Since it was purchased, the person had begun to cut the grass. However, that ditch back there has grown up into a forest. It has not been cleaned, or that grass has not been cut for the last 4 or 5 years. And again, as they said, our garbage, people don't bring their cans in. I like to pull cans in because it's unsightly curb appeal, and I've spoken to my neighbors about it. Some of them refuse. So again, that's another $25 fee. Come and enforce it so that our neighborhood could be improved. That's my time. Well, that's enough. Thank you.
Madam Clerk.
Leslie Taylor.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. My name is Leslie Taylor. I own a property at 303 McDaniel Street, and my issue is the same as others. I do not understand the tax assessment. My property has not changed from the time that I purchased it. Like another woman that spoke earlier, there's an abandoned house right next door to the house that I own, and I live across the street from the projects. So I just don't understand how my property tax increased for some improvement that has not taken place. So that is my issue, just the same as everyone else's. Thank you for your time.
Madam Clerk.
Crystal Atkinson. Miss Atkinson, I have a written citizen's comment from you, so would that suffice with you speaking, or would you like for me to read this as well?
Either way is fine.
Well, I mean,
Hi, Crystal Atkinson. I recently moved back to the area, residing at 214 Hill Street. Thank you, Mayor and City Council, for the opportunity to speak today. I really just wanted to share my sentiments on being raised in this area and being concerned with what I'm seeing as a returning citizen of this county and city. So I have questions reference to maintenance code policies for land or commercial property that is dilapidated. So curious, what's the city doing about private ownership or anyone that's owning property in this city that is in a very failed state? And what can we do to either enforce policy to ensure that they are upkeeping that property? For example, what used to be the Vernon Park Mall now is a deserted space that could be better utilized to provide resources for the folks of this community. So would like to hear what exactly are we doing to improve the landscape of this area, and I'd like to support in any way that I can as a previous citizen of this area now returning. So thank you for your time.
All right. Madam Clerk.
Sally Sale.
My name is Sally Sell. I live at 1206 Airlie Drive in Kinston. We moved here about 13 years ago, and the one thing that I love about Kinston is the people. I find that that is the most attractive thing. And I've gotten to know a lot of people. I've volunteered in different children's areas of helping the children, particularly in the projects. But when I got our tax bill, I thought, well, what is being done now? What are the plans for the money to do something? I mean, Greenville, New Bern, Jacksonville, they have less percentage of taxes than we do, but they've got beautiful parks, recreation areas. What are we doing to help out and use these taxes for? Too many of us are paying taxes because we don't have enough homeowners. Well, this is certainly a deterrent to someone wanting to buy a house. Our taxes, my husband and our taxes went up 82%. And you know what? That's a lot of money, and I've lived in different cities in different states. I have never had taxes go up like that. In fact, in some of the municipalities I've lived in, we voted whether our taxes would go up or not. Now, I don't mind paying more. We've done some cosmetic things with our home. We try to do the right things so the neighborhood looks good. And it's not just homeowners, people that pay rent, their rent is going to go up because their owners are paying more taxes now. We have so many potholes on our street and the streets around us. My husband said, I'm not paying another dime until they fix the potholes on our streets. You avoid them by winding around. And that is something I really, as someone else mentioned, I want to know what the revenues are going to go toward. I think that is our right. And also, who decided these appraisals? Who made these? They seem to be arbitrary. Yeah, who? Yeah. Who was hired? Was it someone who actually lives in Kinston? Or did they bring somebody from Raleigh or some other big city that doesn't know Kinston at all? That's what a lot of us would like to know, and I have friends who are in their 80s, elderly, moved here from another state. They live on Social Security. Their taxes went up $2,000. That is not an easy thing for them. That causes them stress, which is not a good thing. So what I would just like to say is I hope that you can get to the bottom of some of this. For many of my friends and other people that I know. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Madam Clerk.
William Jenkins.
Jenkins.
Yes, my name is William Jenkins. I live at 1679 Highway 258 North, and I'm here like everybody else with taxes. My taxes is triple. Uncle Sam, I'm a disabled veteran too, and Uncle Sam paid half of mine. I was paying $520. Mine went up to $16.7. That meant the whole thing is about $3,200. And that don't make no sense. You can understand it, tax going up a little. And I went to the tax place, and they told me that based on surrounding, said something about a house they had built was a little bit more. I've been living over there 23 years. Where I live at the same house there. It was just an excuse, I guess. But, like I said, I understand the taxes going up. So I don't know what y'all can do about it, but there's something need to be done. And I hope something be done. Thank you.
Madam Clerk.
Qualla Blackwell.
My name is Carla Blackwell. I'm a resident at 804 Chestnut Street, and I'm also I'm a business owner at 1607 North Queen Street. So that's the first thing I like to address. Why is the blight for this deal y'all cut with the county only for downtown? I mean, why not it be for, if you're gonna make it for Queen Street, let it be all Queen Street. Christian Cut Barbershop, which where my business is, we're there. Sassy's Fitness is there. We got A&M Bingo there. We got Catch 22 there. We got a lot of other businesses on Queen Street, not just downtown. My next problem is these people was here 2 weeks ago, and they're back here today in abundance, begging you guys to clean up the streets. 2 weeks have passed, and the city manager has still done nothing. Not one truck over there cleaning up nothing these people are talking about. It's like y'all ain't hearing what they saying about their money. This ain't about Qualla Blackwell. This is about the whole city of Kinston. That got out here and sweated. Some of you guys, we sweated for to get those seats. And turn y'all to slap us in the face like this. Shame. Next thing I want to address, that 4%, 4 cent, whatever y'all talking about, that was an insult. We gave y'all an almost 6% cost of living increase. Because the cost of living is rough for y'all, right? So what is it for us? Our jobs didn't give us a cost of living increase to keep up with what y'all doing to us. Then you go to the incomes of people like Rhonda Barrett, Chief Goyette, taking advantage of our community. It take each one of y'all 12 years. Y'all got to work 12 years to make what they make in one. And we're paying for it. We don't want to pay for that. That's what we got. We got to go as far as to petition y'all to get rid of her? Tony Sears left here making $85,000 a year. She was his intern. Her income done doubled. He was here 15 years to get to that $85,000. She had 142 in 2 or 3 years. Time to let her go. And she ain't doing nothing for our city. Because if I was a city manager and the way these people coming crunching down on y'all, I'd have been and hired a company to come clean this stuff up so I could get these people off my back. She don't care nothing about us. Because if she did, some trunks would have been shaking around here the last 2 weeks. And the next thing is, y'all keep saying people will get back with you when you got questions. That is a bold-faced lie. Because they don't. And when they do, they hit you with a whole bunch of lies. Don't let me borrow it.
Madam Clerk.
Rosemary Jones.
Good evening, Mayor Hardy, council members, and fellow Kinston residents. My name is Rosemary Jones, 2209 Riley Road. I could not attend the Lenore County meeting yesterday, but these issues affect both the city and county. I am outraged by the excessive property tax burden we face, totaling $1,405 for every $100,000 of property value. This is intolerable. My family moved here from Indianapolis in March of '24, eager to build a life here. Last year, our tax bill was $2,544.85. This year, it exploded to $6,015.33. Even after reclassifying on our lot, it remains at $5,764.06, an absolute disgrace. This is way over 100% increase. This so-called cuts a mere 4% from the city, from 77 cents to 73 cents per $100 of assessed value, and 17 cents for the county, from 8 cents to 6 cents, are meaningless. And when the state-mandated reappraisal effective of January 1st of '25 drove up property values up 35%. Renters are hit hard too, as landlords pass on these costs through rent increases. Worse, improving property boosts values and taxes. So many owners let homes deteriorate to avoid penalties. This is destroying our neighborhoods. On top of this, monthly utility taxes add insult to injury: $15 to $20 for water, $15 to $25 for sanitation, $5 to $15 for stormwater. The proposed 4% electric rate cut might save $5 to $10 a month. Laughable and insufficient. Kinston's population has shrunk from 19,756 in 2020 to 19,181 today. These taxes will force even more people out, leading to abandoned homes and more subsidized housing. The resolution dramatically cut property taxes for city and county to an affordable level immediately. Eliminate utility taxes starting with electricity to provide real relief. Restrict spending to essentials only. No unnecessary positions like public information officer. Hire an independent firm for a forensic audit of Kinston's entire budget to uncover and eliminate waste. Make Kinston affordable to reverse our decline and support our community. Thank you. I demand action now for our city's survival.
All right. Madam Clerk.
Henda Moore.
Good evening. Good evening. Good evening, council members and city officials. I noticed that we do have road paving in process, and it really does. We really do appreciate that. At least that shows us where some of the money is going. So we thank you for that. I do anyway, because I was tired of riding ragged streets. But they're supposed to get to you. But the Kinston Police Department and Kinston Housing Authority has been networking for years. Goyette has struggled to help keep the crime down in Kinston. Mayor Donna Hardy, You are the one that appoints board members on the Kinston Housing Authority. The Kinston Housing Authority of the City of Kinston has failed the residents in those developments. There is a piece of equipment that should have and could have been put out there in one of those developments. It's been 6 incidents. Not yet has that piece of equipment been attached. So my suggestion is when you appoint those members to the board, please be sure that you appoint those that have the betterment for that development instead of sitting back watching all this go down. The Kinston Police Department should not be taking all that burden and heavy pressure on them trying to solve these crimes when there could have been a piece of equipment out there to help them out. The police department is doing their job out there in them developments. Kinston City Housing Authority is not doing anything but sitting back. You appointed those members, they're not doing nothing. As for our safety, it's a piece of equipment that should have been up and can go up, but has not been up. We ain't got the money. Y'all have plenty of money by now. That's been going on 3 years. It's nothing there. It's been 3 years. When I was coming to these city council meetings, I've been crying all along. Still, that piece of equipment is not there. And it's sad that baby had to lose his life when that piece of equipment could have put them right on that. It's putting them in a bind. That is too much pressure on them police officers to have to run scum and try to find out what's going on. That equipment will help them out a whole lot with investigations. Please pick up some board members that is willing to do what needs to be done in those developments. Because so far, it's nothing. I yield back.
Madam Clerk.
There are no others, sir.
All right. Thank you, Madam Clerk. And thank all the citizens that came out to voice their concerns. I actually wrote down everyone that actually showed up tonight, and I hopefully look forward to following up in some capacity, however, or with a statement, however, as it relates to the taxes. However, we must move forward on the agenda for tonight as we must finish city business. On the adoption of the agenda, if a council member wishes to revise the agenda, the motion to add or delete an item will be entertained before the adoption of the agenda. Item 1, I want to add one item. Madam Clerk, let the record reflect section action agenda special events permit for prayer march, Apostle Nancy Way. Let the record reflect that be item number 5. For action, item number 5. Will there be any others from the council as it pertains to the agenda? Hearing none, seeing none, entertain a motion to approve.
Motion.
So moved by Mayor Pro Tem Hardy. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilmember Swenson. Under discussion. Under discussion. Under discussion. Under discussion. Hearing none, seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. Motion carries. Under minutes. Consider approval of the minutes city council meeting held on August 19, 2025 and September 2nd, 2025. Madam Clerk, would you like to entertain?
No, sir.
Having said that, entertain a motion.
Motion.
So moved by Councilmember Swenson. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilwoman Seaforth. Under discussion. Under discussion. Under discussion. Hearing none, seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. Motion carries. Under presentations and recognitions, announcement for National Night Out, Chief Goyette.
Sure. Is Ms. Moore still in here? I got that piece of equipment ordered for you. It'll be here this week. We already took care of that. Yes, ma'am. All right, thank you. I'll be extremely quick. I got 2 things to talk about. First one is National Night Out. So that's going to be at Southeast Park, at Southeast School. It's going to be Monday, October 6, 2025. I'd like for everybody in the community to come out. It's going to be a great night. For our law enforcement agencies, our fire department, members from the city of Kinston, city council members, Mr. Mayor, as well as everybody in the community. It'll be a great time for all of us to get together and have a good time. We'll have games and snacks and stuff like that. So I just wanted to invite all of you, invite the community. We're going to post that tomorrow with date, times, location, but I wanted to make you all aware first. Do y'all have any questions as far as National Night Out?
Any questions from the council as it relates to the National Night Out? All right. Hearing none, seeing none, go ahead. Item number 2, sponsor Child for Christmas 2025 initiative.
Sure, thank you. This is something that we do annually at the police department. We've partnered with the Department of Social Services out of Lenore, Wayne, and Greene. We try and get our officers and family members and friends to sponsor children who are in care with DSS. These are children who are not in their homes or in somebody else's home under the care of DSS. A lot of times it's underprivileged children. This is an opportunity for us as well as our community to come together and just sponsor a child for Christmas. Last year we sponsored 33 kids. This year our goal is 50, but I'm convinced we could probably do more than that. We're not going to accept donations. We don't want anybody's money. We want you to sponsor a child. That's the overall goal as far as that goes. We're not going to use Kinston budget money. These are police officers coming together like they do every single year, sponsoring children. We're going to put some information out on social media tomorrow, and we wanted to make you all aware first. So whenever you see it, we want to make our community aware. Whenever they see it, if they want to call in, if they want to sponsor a child, we'll have all that information in there. We'll have a coordinator within the police department that takes care of that. And it's just a great cause, and it's an opportunity to give back. So I just wanted to make you all aware of that. Some of the department heads have already agreed to jump in and help us out as well. This is not a Kinston police thing. There are over 200 children that need sponsoring. We're just a small part trying to help out. That's all it is. And I wanted to make all of you aware. I will send you all the email that I send all of our directors tomorrow, and it'll also be on social media. So,
anything from the council pertains to the initiative for Child for Christmas initiative? Hearing none, seeing none. Thank you, Chief. Item number 1 for action, presentation of results of electric cost of service study and schedule of public hearing for October 7th, 2025, to consider approval of a 4% rate reduction in the residential, small general service, medium general service, large general service, CDC, and rental lighting electric rate schedule. Director Miller.
Thank you, Mayor. What I want to say first off, before we get started on the slides, is what is proposed. What we are proposing at this point is to consider reducing the electric rates for all of our public open classes for customers by 4% here in the immediate future. So what we're going to run through tonight, we're going to talk a little bit about the retail rates, which is what Kinston charges our customers. We're going to talk about the wholesale rates, which is what Kinston pays to buy power so that we can deliver that power to our customers, and talk about the things that are coming up this year in the future and the cost of service study we just did, and then we'll close with a little bit of information about the actual recommendations. What the action is that is requested tonight is simply to set a public hearing for October 7th to hear any public comments about this proposed change at that time, and then make a decision on whether or not to move forward with the changes. So the retail rate history here in Kinston, electric rates have been very, very steady in Kinston. The last actual increase that we had in electric rate was in 2009. The last rate change we made was in 2015, but that was actually a 10% decrease. That is when the KEMPA, which is the power agency we buy power through, sold their shares that were in the generation assets for creating power from different power plants around the state to Duke Energy, and actually reduced the cost that we had in that area. So at that time, we decreased the rates 10%, and that was an average decrease across all the rate classes that we had. We had 3 main goals when we did that. One, we wanted to have a steady rate moving forward. People that were here from 2000 to 2009 know that we went through a lot of rate increases back then. And a lot of times it was happening quickly. We would find out a couple months ahead of time that we had to increase our rates. So we didn't want to have to do that moving forward. We wanted to have the rate as steady as we could. So we wanted to be able to hold that rate that we set in 2015 for at least 5 years. 2 other things we tried to do at that time. We set up a rate stabilization fund. The purpose of that was to put some funds aside, so if future rate changes do happen, we'd have a way to either delay making any rate changes if they had to increase, or to cover some short-term rate changes that we might be seeing from the power agency. We'll talk about those things a little bit later. The last thing was to do a capital reserve fund. We knew we had capital investments, things we needed to fix in our system. They might be substations, it might be wires going down the street, power poles, whatever. We knew we needed to be investing to make sure that we can continue to provide reliable power. So that was the third goal that we had when we did that. All right, wholesale rates. Kinston buys our power through an agency called the North Carolina Eastern Municipal Power Agency. It is a collection of 32 cities that are part of this in eastern North Carolina, and they work with one group. They have one contract with Duke to buy power, and that agency helps negotiate that contract. There are changes to it every year. The energy rates that Duke charges the agency change every year. So we have to be aware of that and be trying to plan ahead for whatever might be coming up. In addition to just the rates, which we pay an energy rate and a demand rate, just like some of our customer classes pay. So it's the same type of setup for that. We have riders as well. Riders are typically small, little associated costs with having electric service. Some of the ones we have a generation rider with NCEMPA. That agency actually owns assets that actually helps reduce our peak. That rider is actually a credit for us. We also have riders for REPS, which is our renewable energy portfolio. We have a rider for the agency cost for all that management that they do for the contracts, negotiating with Duke, things like that. We had a rider for debt, and that's made the news here recently. In June, we made the last debt payment under that rider, so that rider won't be charged anymore. So that cost will go away, which is a good thing. And then we have what's called true-ups. As I said, under the energy and demand cost, every year Duke is changing what they charge. At the beginning of a given year, they will estimate what they're going to charge us, and that is what they'll charge us. But then at the end of the year, they will go back, look at their actual costs versus what we paid, and they may say they owe us a little bit of money. They may say that we owe them money. The last few years, we have had significant true-ups where Duke has underestimated their costs, and we end up with a rider. The true-up riders typically last 12 months to 24 months that we're having to make payments back to the agency to catch up whatever amount we were short. So right now, we're paying for two riders. They're called 122 and 123. They're from 2022 and 2023. We have another one from 2024 that's going to begin next April, and they are now talking about there's probably going to be a rider in 2025 too. So again, these are short-term changes that actually increase our costs if we're having to pay these riders back. All right, so moving forward, where we are today, everybody heard about the debt payment ending. So that happened in June. June was the last payment we made. Then July 1st, the Duke energy rate changes went into effect that they were telling a company they were going to pay, which is a 3.5% increase. So although we reduced debt payment, we increased our actual energy rates a little bit for the 3.5%. These are things that Kinston is seeing from the power agency, not what we're sending to our customers. Like I said, in April, they are projecting additional changes in the energy and demand rates, and they're estimating increases of 4.5% in April, and then 4.5% each of the next 3 years after that. These are just estimates. They may not happen, they may be higher, they may be lower. But these are the types of things when we're looking at what costs Kinston is going to have to pay that we have to take into consideration in figuring out what our rates need to be moving forward. Some other things that are factors that you need to take into consideration for these things are things you may hear in the news. A couple of years ago, the General Assembly passed a rule that directed Duke Energy to go carbon neutral. They had to reach a goal in 2030, and they had another goal in 2050. Well, when you do that, that sounds great. It's a great goal to have, but everybody needs to recognize that if you're having to change where you're getting your energy from, you have to invest money, and it costs you to do that. So when Duke was hit with those goals from the General Assembly, they had to start investing money and spending money, and they're going to pass that on to their customers. They pass it on to their retail customers that have bills directly from them. They pass it on to us as wholesale customers too. So we were seeing pressures for increases from that. Duke Energy is actually multiple agencies too for different regions. Kinston is part of Duke Energy Progress. It used to be old Carolina Power and Light way back in the day for people who have been around Eastern North Carolina for a while. The western part of the state is served by Duke Carolinas. It's a different agency within Duke Energy. And what they're proposing to do is merge those two groups together. Mergers can be scary. You don't know what's going to happen exactly. At this point, the power agency thinks that may end up with a slight reduction in our costs, but we don't know for sure until they work out the details. Moving forward, they expect that merger to possibly be in effect in January of 2027. So another future thing we got to consider and figure out. Peak load reduction plans, recent changes they made in the wholesale contract allowed Kinston and other cities to do additional things to try to reduce peak load demands. If we can successfully reduce those demands, we can lower our costs because we pay for our peak power, we pay for energy use. So it's an opportunity for us and the agency in general to look at ways that we can try to reduce that peak and reduce our costs. So everybody's looking at those things right now. That's just happened within the last year or so. So investments, again, have to happen for that, and we'll just have to see how quickly we can get things in place to take advantage of that. And then lastly, one thing will come up in 2035. At that point, the current agreement between Duke Energy and Nekempa will expire. So at that point, Nekempa is going to have to figure out what they want to do moving forward for buying power. Unfortunately, there's not 100 agencies you can buy power from, but there are some options they can look at. They'll be looking at that. So all these things could have impacts in the future. This is unusual. We don't have that many things moving around that we have to consider in a short period of time, but we do this time. Now, overall, for Kinston, all of these things I've been talking about the last couple of slides is wholesale cost, which is us buying power. That is just a piece of our electric budget. It's not the whole thing, because we have to maintain our own lines around town, our substations, we have people we pay salaries for, we hire contractors to do work. All the things we do in Kinston are other costs that we have. So what they have been looking at for this is with the wholesale cost being about 70 or 75% of our budget, the wholesale bill for this coming year, right now in this first fiscal year, is expected to drop from about $34.2 million to about $32.4. That's about $1.8 million. It's about a 5% reduction in the wholesale cost. Now, when you look at our total budget, which is about $50 million, and you pull out that $1.8 million reduction we'll have in wholesale cost, the impact on our whole budget is about 3.6%. So it's not quite 4%. But because of the things that we did with rate stabilization, with setting aside money for capital, things that we have money set aside for, we've been able to move forward with estimating that we think we can offer the 4% and still have a steady rate for a few years moving forward. So the cost of service study that we did, what they do in a cost of service study is they look at our total revenues for electric, they look at our total expenses, they look at each rate class and see what each rate class pays as far as expenses and what revenues they bring back to see if they're doing what they should. Ideally, every rate class would cover their cost every time, but because there's so many little fluctuations in rates between energy and demand and everything else, it's hard to keep it there. So we do these studies occasionally to see if there's other things that we can do. In 2015, we did a cost of service study when we offered the 10% reduction. And like I said earlier, that was an average. What the cost of service study showed is some rate classes should get more than 10%, some should get less than 10%. We didn't follow exactly what they do because sometimes those changes can be extreme and you have all these other factors like we talked about tonight that may come up and change it again. So you do the best thing that you can to try to make sure you're fair to all your classes. So like I said, that was an average at that time. We have 11 rate classes that we deal with. And what we're looking at tonight, when we did this cost of service study, they came back with something similar. If you just did it flat out based on what they had in the study, their assumptions, their estimates, there were some classes that wouldn't have got any increase or any decrease. Some would get an increase. It just depended on how you wanted to approach it. So we looked at different goals that we wanted to have at this time. And what we wanted to do is try to be fair to all our customers, and that's why we've ended up proposing to do a 4% across the board for all of those rate classes that a customer could sign up for, and let them all have a 4% reduction. Otherwise, some might not get much of anything. In fact, the residential small general service rates in the cost of service study, those are the ones that would get less decreases. We didn't want to do that. We felt like it was fair to be more consistent and have the bulk of our customers, which are in those small rate classes, get the same percent reduction that our larger customers get. So we ended up with the recommendation to do a 4% reduction across the board. These are the different rate classes that we have. The residential actually has 2 rate classes: small general service, those are small businesses. Medium general service are a little bit bigger businesses like Walmarts, things like that. Large general service are like our industries, and so is the coordinated demand control. So those are really big customers. And then our rental lighting class service as well. All of those classes are recommended to get the 4% reduction. All right. There are a couple other rate classes. There's a municipal class. We're not proposing to reduce the municipal rate, which is what all of our electric bills are for city services. Those will stay the same. They're not going to get any reduction. There's one for public housing. That is only open to the housing authority for properties that they have. There was an old church rate. It's closed. No new customers can sign up for that. We're not proposing to change that at this time. And the other ones, like I listed on the other side, will all get the 4% reduction. For a resident, an average bill is about 1,100 kWh, kilowatt hours per month. And the current bill rates, that's about $152 a month that customer would pay for the electric charge. That doesn't include water, sewer, and all the other things that may be on your bill. With the reduction, that bill would drop to $146 a month. Just as a comparison, everybody always asks, what about Duke Energy? Residential customers in our area that are on Duke and use that same amount per month would pay about $180 a month. So they are significantly higher than Kinston is at this point. So our goals at this point, again, are to try to keep everything steady. To make this change and be able to do a reduction, what we need to do is what we're asking for tonight: set a public hearing. Before the hearing, we have to advertise it twice in a newspaper, so it makes you delay the hearing a little bit. But we do believe, based on the dates, if we take that action to set the hearing tonight, we can hold the hearing on October 7th at that council meeting, which will be right here in this room. And then after the public hearing, City Council can make a decision on whether to follow the recommendation or do something different. And if they want to, they could adopt the rate change that's proposed that night. If we do adopt it on the 7th, we could have it in effect as soon as October 15th. So if there's any questions, I'll be glad to answer it. Obviously, this is not everything that's involved in trying to change rates. I've tried to keep it simple. I hope I haven't lost anybody. But if anybody has questions, they can certainly see me. I guess it's good that we broadcast this on YouTube. People can go look at it as many times as they want to. So, but I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Thank you, Steve. Before we answer questions from the council, what is the status of our energy audit that we do here at the City of Kinston also? How does that work?
You talking about residential energy audits?
Yes.
The energy audits are a free service we offer. We do that in conjunction with the power agency, or we'll actually have somebody come out. If you want somebody to come out and look at your property and see if there's things you could do that would help you reduce energy loss, it might be windows, insulation, other items that you have in your house. All you got to do is call us at 939-3282. We'll get it set up and have somebody come out and do the audit with you. And then it's up to the homeowner if you want to actually make the improvements or not.
Okay. Thank you, Steve. Anything from the council as it pertains to the presentation of results of electric cost of service study and schedule a public hearing?
Hey, Steve, I do have a question, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, go ahead.
My question, Steve, is since we had this program to try to help our citizens determine the housing they live in and what needs to be improved, about how many people actually use the program?
Very few actually ask for audits. So it's a service that's out there, and we'll be glad to do that. Actually, coming up the first week of October, we'll have our energy fair. We're working on the dates and locations for that. Probably have a couple events that night or that week. And again, we'll share information about getting the audits if people are interested in that, as well as other information for our customers.
All right, thank you, Steve.
Are they able to make contact via the website?
For the audits?
Yeah, request an energy audit.
I don't know if there's a link on the report of concern to be able to do that, but they certainly can do it by calling our customer service number, and they can do that 24 hours a day and call and request an audit whenever it's convenient for them.
We're probably going to take a look at what it would look like to have a link added to it if it's not, however, and a form produced for specifically the energy audit piece. I don't think that would be a hard thing to do.
And that is the service number on the trash can, right, Steve?
Yes, same numbers on trash can.
Thank you.
All right, any further discussion from the council that pertains to the energy audit and/or a hearing?
Yeah, so Steve, am I correct that Duke Energy is proposing, it looks like they're going to increase their rates beginning next spring? And beginning next spring and then like a couple of years following, right? So are we saying that if we do this rate reduction now, that the initial rate increase that Duke may have in the spring, it won't impact our customers? We won't.
That's correct. With the 4% reduction, if Duke does do a 4.5% in April, we will still be in a position where we will not have to have a rate increase in Kinston.
Mr. Steve, I thought you were about to say something. Thank you for this, Mr. Steve. I do just want to really share some appreciation for you providing this presentation tonight for the council and the community, and showing the process that came through for us to be able to offer this reduction to our electric customers. And thank you to Ms. Solomon for bringing up that point, that it's very likely that Duke will increase their wholesale rates as they've done consistently in the past few years. I know we had a rate increase in 2022 and 2023, according to, I think, previous city council discussion we had about this. So as they're increasing their rates, I do want to make sure our citizens understand that this council has actually been proactive in trying to stabilize our rates here at the city. Previously, the city adopted what's called our rate stabilization fund. So we've invested additional money into a separate fund so that even as Duke Energy is going up on their cost of energy, we're able to keep our rates the same. That's why we hadn't had a rate increase since 2009. That's why we were able to have a rate decrease, in 2015, because of the very aggressive and strategic approach that our public services and our electric team have invested into the city. So I do think it's really important that everyone recognizes that right now, the city of Kinston's rate is also pretty comparable, if not in some cases for some customers, lower than Duke Energy's rate in North Carolina, because of the aggressive approach that this city council and our electric staff have taken. So it is unfortunate that here in North Carolina, we have such a unique electric system across the state where Duke Energy is the monopoly pretty much when it comes to electric production here. But however, the city of Kinston, being a municipal power agency and being able to have our own and manage our own electric system, even though we buy the power from Duke, takes a very serious approach into how we look out for our customers. And I know this 4% decrease might not be the biggest change for a lot of people, but whether it saves $10 a month or $50 a month, I do know that's extra funds in folks' pockets that I'll be looking forward to on my bills. So I'm very grateful to our staff for being aggressive and strategic, and for this council for being strategic in how we implement things like that rate stabilization fund to keep our rate at the same over the last over 15 years now. So that's commendable for this city.
Thank you, Councilmember Suggs. I do echo the sentiments, and thank you, Director Steve Miller, for always, giving it to us like we need to have it. So I do appreciate that. Having said that, any further discussion from the council as it pertains to this public hearing that should be held October the 7th? Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Any further discussion? All right, here and seeing now, entertain a motion.
Motion.
So moved by Councilmember Swinson. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilmember Suggs. Under discussion. Under discussion. Under discussion. Hearing none. Seeing none. Yes. And this motion will be to set the public hearing for October 7th, 2025. October 7th, 2025. And is there anything further? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. Motion carries. Item number 2, consider approval of organizational support for the fiscal year 25 grant applicants. Ms. Goodson.
Thank you, Mayor. In your packet is a memo regarding the organizational support grants that we received during the fiscal year 24-25 funding period that had not been allocated. There were 3 applicants that had eligible expenses, and they are listed in your packet with a total eligible funding request of $34,460. And we are recommending that $29,460 of the 25-26 $50,000 allocation be applied to these 3 grants. I'm happy to answer any questions.
I'll make the recommendation also, if we could, if the council would, take a look at the organizational support request of Hope to Destiny Youth to fund it with the eligible funding request at $10,000 versus the 5. Any discussion? Is there a motion to move forward on moving this recommendation?
I'll move to approve it with the revision of updating Hope to Destiny for Youth grant from $5,000 to the $10,000 of eligible expenses.
Is there a second?
Sure. I'll move to approve the organizational support proposal with the revision of updating Hope to Destiny for Youth grant amount from $5,000 to their full eligible expenses of $10,000.
Is there a second? Is there a second? Seconded by Councilwoman Seaforth. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Councilmember Swenson. No. Councilmember Suggs.
Yes.
Councilmember Solomon.
No.
Councilmember Seaforth. Yes. Mayor Pro Tem Hardy.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Mayor. Just as an informational, these 3 organizations will be receiving a letter from the city explaining what they can spend these monies on as per their grant request.
Thank you, Ms. Goodson. I do appreciate you and the hard work that the team has done for over the several months, so do appreciate the effort. All right. Item number 3, consider acceptance of a Historic Preservation Fund grant in the amount of $22,000 and authorize the Finance Department Director to prepare a budget amendment for a future meeting. Director Blount.
Thank you, Mayor. Back in April of this year, the Planning Department came before you asking for approval to submit a grant application for certified local government funds for historic preservation. I am excited to say that we were awarded that grant on September 9th. So with the North Carolina Department of Natural and Cultural Resources, we want to use that money to update our very, very outdated design guidelines, and they have not been updated since 1994. So there's definitely time to do those guidelines, and they serve as our framework for sustainable materials, emergency protocols, and common repair practices for our historic properties. Through this grant, the city will review the existing standards, conduct community engagement sessions, and develop a new illustrated preservation plan and updated design guidelines. As it was stated, the total grant is $22,000 with an additional $10,000 match provided by the city. Staff is asking that we formally accept the award and instruct the finance director to prepare a budget amendment for a future council meeting.
Thank you, Director Blount. Do appreciate you, and I was excited about you applied for it to begin with. So do appreciate your efforts and the entire team over there. Anything from the council as it pertains to this grant? Hearing none, seeing none, entertain a motion. So moved by Councilmember Swenson. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilwoman Seaforth. Under discussion. Under discussion. Under discussion. Hearing none, seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. Motion carries.
Thank you, Council.
All right, item number 4, consider request for a special event for Kinston Teen Sunday dinner. Chief Goyette.
All right, it's that time. This application is for 4 dates: Sunday, September 21st, October 19th, November 16th, and December 21st. Between 10 a.m. and 6 p.m., there will be a short area of Tower Hill Road closed off. It's been going on for over a year. No issues whatsoever. It's a great opportunity for the community to come together. Food's going to be served. There'll also be some vendors there giving away information and so forth. The hold harmless agreement has been signed, and the city of Kinston is listed as the insurance certificate holder.
Thank you, Chief. Mr. Attorney, would you like to entertain?
Everything looks fine from an application standpoint. Anytime we have a certificate of insurance, noting insurance for future dates, future events, and I think there's 4 or 5 on this one, I recommend to every municipality to, about a week before the next event, call, make sure the COI is still valid. And that's standard recommendation anytime you have a future event on the COI. But everything else looks good to the council. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Attorney. Having said that, anything from the council? Hearing none, seeing none, entertain a motion.
Motion.
So moved by Council Mayor Pro Tem Hardy. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilwoman Seaforth. Under discussion. Under discussion. Under discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. Motion carries.
Mayor Hardy,
With the extension,
thank you.
yeah, absolutely. Madam Clerk, let the record reflect with the extension of Councilmember Suggs as it relates to that item.
All right, go ahead. Sorry.
All right, item number 5 that we added to the agenda, a special event permit request prayer march for Kinston. Apostle Nancy Wade, Chief, if you would.
If you will recall, Miss Nancy, the Apostle Nancy Wade was here last week. We had our last city council meeting. She did get her stuff turned in yesterday. This is for a prayer march, which will take place on Saturday, October 4th, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. It's going to start at Carver Courts, just outside Bright Street, travel eastbound to Akin, north to Mitchell Wooten. They're going to do a little ring around Mitchell Wooten and then head back up Tower Hill and finish up at St. Peter's Church, which is off of J.P. Harrison Boulevard. She's got it for 4 hours, but really it shouldn't take no more than an hour for the actual prayer walk. There will be events at the church as well. There's going to be a couple of officers assisting with this. This is the 12th annual prayer walk. I think I've helped out with about 4 of them. I'll help out with this one as well. The hold harmless agreement has been signed, and the city of Kinston is listed as as one of the insurance certificate holders.
Thank you, Chief. I do appreciate that. Mr. Attorney, would you like to interject?
Yeah, no questions. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
All right, thank you, Mr. Attorney. Having said that, entertain a motion. So moved by Councilmember Swenson. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilmember Suggs. Under discussion. Under discussion. Under discussion. Point of order. Please be quiet. Under discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Motion carries. So just to advise the point of order, when I'm actually, when we're conducting business in the city, when people make sounds or noises or make comments that shouldn't be made, that is a disruption of the actual flow of business. So, having said that, and I love each and every one of you, but I want to make sure that it's clear that I can hear. It has to be clear that I can hear. I do appreciate that. All right, next item on the agenda, City Manager, Madam Manager, would you like to interject?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mayor. We're going to have the Deputy Fire Chief tonight to talk about Fire Safety Week that they've started.
Council, ladies and gentlemen. As you know, we always do it every month or every October. October is Fire Prevention Week. We always try to have all the kids and everything, kindergarten through first grade. Last year, I don't know if y'all noticed or not, we had 1,200 kids from 10 different schools. We always try to get a few daycares and everything else, and we always try to go to different places and try to see all of them, whoever asks. This year, it's going to be October 6th through the 10th from 9 to 11. And if y'all would like to join, please do so. We'll put you to work, or if y'all just wanted to get a picture, we're great with that too. One last thing, if October always fills up fast for us for the fire prevention stuff, so if any churches or groups or anybody has something they would like for us to come see or do, we're more than welcome to come get an application from us, or you can go on the website, fill out the application, and we'll get one of our gentlemen to go ahead and give you a call back and get it scheduled for you.
Thank you, Chief. I do appreciate it, and I look forward to the opportunity to be able to come back again and flip through this safety house, rescue house again with our kids. I do appreciate that. If you get an opportunity to watch or go by the firehouse October 6th through the 10th between 9 to 11 a.m. on 401 East Vernon Avenue, that's a big deal. It's something to show we're supporting our youth in the schools as it relates to fire safety. All right, Chief, I do appreciate you, and let the Chief know we thank him. Anything from the council as it relates to Fire Safety Week? Hearing none, seeing none. Mr. Attorney, would you like to interject? Would you like to, any comments?
Nothing to report, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
All right, having said that, anything from the council?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. It's coming up on football season for our youth and some other programs we have for our youth, soccer and winter baseball and some other activities. And I just want to say to the community, it's important that we pour into our youth. I hear a lot of times people say the youth don't have anything to do, but this is an opportunity for us as a community people to go out and support our youth as they participate in sports and different activities that show that we do care about their future. I think it's very important. So there's a post on the Recreation website that tell you these events and where they be happening at. And I encourage everybody to try to get out and support our young people. Thank you.
Anything else from the council? All right.
Sure, Mayor Harding. Yeah.
Yes.
I do want to thank specifically everyone who came out tonight, speaking from the heart. I heard your concerns. I share some of your concerns. Many of you raised very valid points about the significant increases you've had in your property tax bills this year. And I just wanted to acknowledge that and share that I have respect and understanding for the frustration and the confusion that many people are having. I do want to make it clear that the city of Kinston does not control property values. And after listening to the concerns tonight, that seems to be the common thread of where a lot of the issues stem from. The responsibility for actually assessing and evaluating and reappraising property values lies with the Lenore County government. The county recently completed its first property tax revaluation since 2016. That went into effect January 2017. And under North Carolina law, the state requires that municipalities or counties do this reevaluation at least every 8 years. So we were due for another one. When new values are issued, there's a very, unfortunately, short appeal window at the beginning of the year that if the assessment, if we think that the value of our home is wrong, we have a right and an ability to go and appeal that. Unfortunately, many people either miss that opportunity or don't realize how much it could impact their bill later on down the line. I was one of those people who missed that opportunity. My property tax bill or valuation came back. I saw it in the mail in January or February. I knew I should have been down there at the county office trying to appeal it. I just never found the time to. And now I'm paying what I believe a ridiculously high amount of taxes for a property that I know is not valued for that amount. Unfortunately, I too, like many other people, missed the appeal process. But that said, these rising bills are real, and unfortunately, as property owners, it's a responsibility that comes with being in America. We have to pay taxes on our property. Sometimes, so as I was listening to your comments and taking note of your name so I can get back with people, I was also taking note of your addresses. And because property taxes are public record in North Carolina, I was going to look at property tax bills to make sure that I could be completely informed when I had conversations with community members. One particular example that I was listening to tonight speak, it was the case of a tax value on a home. The tax value hadn't increased in probably about a decade, even though the property had been renovated with many new amenities, a chef's kitchen, a saltwater pool, new landscape, and all this stuff, but they were only paying the tax value of around $125,000 on taxes. So that's one reason why their tax value up until 2024 had been really low. This person purchased this newly renovated house, brand spanking, new upgrades, new pool, all this stuff, for $390-something, almost $400,000. So they purchased this house for $400,000, even though the tax value on it was only around $125,000. So what that means is, as the county was doing this reappraisal process, and public records showed the purchase amount for this, the tax value on their home also drastically increased. So even though they were only paying previously tax bills for a house of around $125,000. Now, because the purchase price went public and they did this new reevaluation, their tax value went up to $360,000 or over $360,000. So their tax bill did increase tremendously because they hadn't previously accounted for the upgrades and the renovations that had been at that particular house. That doesn't make their frustrations any less valid. It doesn't make their frustrations, it doesn't make it any easier for them to pay that bill. But I think that's important context for us all to remember that the values of homes have drastically increased since 2016 and 2017. Some properties have had tremendous renovations since 2016 or 2017. Then there's also some properties that have not had any renovations at all. More than likely, though, the value of those homes have increased some. Even though you don't see the improvements in your neighborhood, the house next door might be abandoned. If you look at property sales and real estate sales here in Lenore County and here in Kinston, properties that were once selling for $30,000 or $40,000 are going for $80,000, $90,000, $100,000, $120,000. That is happening if you pay attention to real estate in our community. So I do want to just say that there's a lot of context that's really important for this conversation around tax bills. And I wish that more of us had, paid attention to the notices earlier this year and, took ourselves through that appeal process. I do wish, and I'm constantly encouraging my colleagues in elected office on this council, but also at the county commission level, that we need to do better when it comes to communications and public engagement and sharing resources and information with our community. I will never agree with the statement that a public information officer is a pointless job, because when you're talking about a city of nearly 20,000 people, an organization like Kinston that has nearly 400 employees, we need someone who is constantly putting out public information. That's a really important job that I'm proud the city finally got one this year, a full-time one this year. So we need to be able to utilize positions like that to share information. So I do wish that the city, even though it wasn't on our responsibility to handle the tax evaluation process, but that the city and the county had done more outreach to let people know of their rights to go through that appeal process and actually appeal the values of our properties earlier this year. And so that brings me to my point of what the city is responsible for, and that is the tax rate. The city did, have an opportunity. By law, we're required to share with our community and our budget notices and all this stuff about what a revenue-neutral tax rate would look like after we've gone through that reevaluation process. So after the county let us know all these new updated values of the homes here in Kinston and Lenore County, we're required to calculate up what a revenue-neutral tax rate would be for our citizens. And what that means is, even though the value of your home might have increased on paper, your bill is going to be the same or really close to the same, because we're adopting a revenue-neutral tax rate. And, some people were encouraging us to do that, and we thought deliberately about, whether we could afford to do that as a city. Once you consider the fact that we've been receiving property tax revenue based on 2016 and 2017 amounts, expenses for the city of Kinston, expenses for services all around the community, all around the world have gone up since 2016 and 2017. So there was a need for the city to be able to increase the pay for our firefighters, our public service officials, our police officers, our city staff. Those are important roles that are already underpaid when you compare us to nearby cities or comparable cities of our size and the needs of our community. There are also expenses that we have to invest in, like streets and stormwater and infrastructure. One of the biggest complaints that I've heard as a city councilman these last 4 years has been about the road conditions in Kinston. Nobody is satisfied with the streets. And so we've heard you. And this year, for the first time ever, we're investing a historic amount of money in street resurfacing. You're seeing the improvement. You're seeing your tax dollars at work all across the community. And I've heard so many people share appreciation for us for doing that. And so my encouragement to my council colleagues, especially as we, we're in this budget cycle, the bill has been sent out, the tax rate has been set. So now we have a responsibility to show our community members where their tax dollars are going, what improvements we're able to make with the new funds, what services the city of Kinston actually provides. Because one thing I found too is that a lot of people don't even know all the things that the city of Kinston does. We touch a lot of aspects. We touch everything of your everyday life. You are being impacted by a service that the city of Kinston provides. This election, contrary to what it might look like, this election that we're going to have this November is probably one of the most important elections of our city's future because it's your local election. You're deciding the people who represent you on this city council, who impact your everyday lives. So I do just want to encourage my colleagues in closing that from street maintenance to parks and recreation to police to infrastructure improvements, we've got to take leadership and own up to sharing with our community where their tax dollars are going. We've also, as I'm always saying, have to, put out positive information and dispel the misinformation out there. I keep hearing from people for some reason that, they don't put the budget out there. We need an audit, or the budget, you can't find the budget. Well, it's posted on our website. It's available here at City Hall. We get audited every year. And it's like, people are thinking these things, thinking that we don't get an audit, thinking that we don't have a budget. People don't know where the expenses are going. All of that stuff is public information available on our website, available here at City Hall. But I think as leaders, we have a responsibility to also communicate that information. Everybody's not going to read the long 300 and something page budget documents that we have a responsibility to read. But what we can do is summarize that information and communicate it out to the public. So that's just my little spiel tonight. I'm really grateful to our city staff who work so hard to, provide us with the information. I vow in my last 2.5 months of being a city council member that I'm going to make sure I'm putting out as much information to the community as possible, and I just want to encourage my colleagues to do the same.
Mayor, I just want to thank Councilman Suggs for that elegant, in-depth explanation to that degree, because that has been missed so bad throughout our community and throughout local government. The city takes the bad rap for everything here in Kinston. Some things we can control, some things we can't control, but we try our hardest sitting up here to do the best thing that we possibly can for every citizen in the city of Kinston. And Councilman Suggs has said it so elegant that the county does that. The county meets the first and third Monday of each month at 9 o'clock and at 4 o'clock. No one shows up at their meetings. No one. But they'll come to here at 5:30 and rake us across the coals no matter what we say or what we do. We haven't had an electric rate increase in 16 years. The cost of doing business is what the city does. We do this, and it's not that we want to do this, but it's sometimes we have to have increases. When you look at your water and your light bill, everybody say my light bill. It's not just your light bill. It's water, sewer, garbage, recycling. Recycling goes up on the city every year. We have to recycle. We take and recycle all the way to Goldsboro. Sometimes we have to pay for that recycling to go to Goldsboro. We don't charge our residents anymore. We had to spend gas to go to the recycling, but the city said they wanted recycling, so we continue to do recycling. But Councilman Suggs, thank you for your explanation, your wizardry on the computer, because you'll sit right here and look something up and drop some knowledge on all of us. And we certainly appreciate it, and I know we're going to miss you after the next 2 months. I think I have served this city council for 20 years. It has been headache, pain, scratching my head and everything else, but I've done it. I do it again because I love this community. I don't make a lot of money on this, sitting on this board. I had a lot of sleepless nights, a lot of headaches, phone calls, And we try to respond to everybody in a reasonable and a timely fashion. So some people say, oh, he sit there and he don't say anything. Some things are just rhetorical, and sometimes you don't say nothing. It's to put your foot in your mouth. So thank you again, Councilman Suggs. Thank you, everybody that sits on this board, for your relentless time and effort. I truly have enjoyed it, still enjoying it, and I thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Swenson.
Thank you, Swenson.
And Mayor Hart, if you don't mind.
You go ahead.
You know, it's our meeting. We got a soapbox for a little bit.
Yeah.
I did, you know, Councilmember Swenson mentioned that I was sitting here typing up and looking up stuff. That's what I do at all of our meetings. And, you know, something else I do want to just share is the importance of our community members learning their elected officials, getting to know us outside of this meeting right here, and asking us questions outside of these meetings right here. Yes, public accountability is so important. Call us out on social media. Come to the meeting and call us out. I can't wait till January, because I'm going to come right back up here calling the council out. Like, we've got work to do. That's what citizens do. But also, you know, have those one-on-one conversations and get more clarity when you can. Something that I was looking up as people were coming up and sharing their name and information and stuff, we actually had 1 or 2 members of the public who came here tonight who weren't city residents, but actually county residents too. And so some people don't even realize that we have a city and a county government and the different services that each entity provides. So, you know, that's one thing I do want to encourage people to check out and look into. There was another note I made about, okay, I'm not going to address this one right now. Yeah, there was also another note I made. I'm sorry, I lost it, but I did just want to appreciate Councilmember Swenson bringing that up, that, you know, we are taking notes and being attentive to your concerns. We are responding to your concerns as quickly as we possible, sometimes even in real time. When people come up and mention trash on their streets or a storm drain is clogged, we're taking notes, sending in work orders and stuff, like doing that immediately. So, you know, keep doing it. And progress does not happen overnight, y'all. That's something that I've struggled with as an elected official since being on city council, is how slow some things move in city government. You know, coming from a background in community work, being able to make things happen really quickly and rapidly, like, that's what I love. That's what I get fulfillment from. And then you sit behind this dais up here and we've got to, you know, review it and have a work session, then vote on it again, have a public hearing. It moves slow sometimes to make really big things happen. But I do want to encourage you all and provide some hope that there are some big things happening in the city of Kinston. There is some growth happening in different pockets of our community, and we want to see that growth more equitably distributed across the community too. And what I would encourage from community members is, now that you've shared your concerns about tax rates, people are getting more and more involved and educated on what the city budget process is like. I believe that you have not because you ask not. And so be specific in what you want to see in your community. As I've encouraged the council to share more about where our tax dollars are being spent and what services that the city provides, be specific in what you want to see in your neighborhood. Come here and say, you know what, my street has not had sidewalks redone in 20 years. I want sidewalks on this particular block. And let us, our staff can look up and see how much that's going to cost, and we figure it out. And tell the city council that, you know, y'all got extra money in the budget now because y'all went up on my taxes. I want to see this investment in my neighborhood. So often we do get a lot of complaints and criticism, and they're very valid complaints and criticism. But what I think that we all have a responsibility to do is to be more solutions oriented. And it's hard for the council, or it usually is hard for the council to say no when somebody presents us with a solution. Because the problems that you see in your neighborhood, if we can solve those problems, it makes quality of life better for everybody. And so rather than just point out the problem, please do share with the council what you believe the solution might be. Whether that's a new sidewalk, a new park, a service gap you see somewhere in the community, say specifically what it is, and then, you know, tell us so we can make it happen. Or then that gives you some leverage to say, well, I've publicly given you the plan, I've publicly given you the proposal, and y'all haven't done anything with it. Like, that's what accountability is. So rather than, you know, the being only sharing, or typically only sharing complaints, I just do want to encourage folks to share solutions. The city does have, you know, opportunities, whether through the organizational support program that we voted on tonight or through the fund balance. Every now and then we dig into the fund balance to make positive, big projects happen for our community. We have a healthy fund balance. The city of Kinston is finally in a healthy financial position. We've been getting there over the past few years. And so I'm not going to say that we're rolling around in money or anything like that, but what I will say is that there's the Bible verse, the harvest is plentiful, but the laborers are few. There's a lot of resources out there, whether it's here in Kinston or across the state or federal funding. Some of that is being cut back and dialed back, but there's money out there somewhere. It's just up to us to work towards it, to develop the plan, the proposal, to be well thought out, to be specific in what you want. Whether you're asking this council or whether you're praying to God, I believe it's very important for us to be specific in our ask. So that is my ask to the community tonight, is that moving forward, be specific in what you want to see happen in your community, and then let's work together to make it happen.
And Mr. Mayor, let me add one last thing.
Yes, sir.
Also, you know, I don't know why people don't understand that we live in the same community they live in. You know, my taxes went up on my house. My insurance went up on my house. I live in the same community you live in. But one thing about Mayor Pro Tem Hardy, if there's an individual out there that has any kind of problem that I can help you solve, I'm here to help you. I have given back to this community every dime I ever earned on this council. Every dime I have given back to this community. So people got to understand, as this family sits before you, we're not here to harm anybody. We go through the same things y'all go through, and people overlook that because we hold a position. They overlook that. So I encourage you to understand we're human. We go through the same thing. My mother's elderly. My family members are elderly. They're going through the same things that everybody else is going through. So I'm not privileged. I had to work all my life for everything I ever earned. And I don't mind sharing it if I can help you, as long as you don't feel like you're taking advantage of me.
All right. Councilwoman Solomon.
So pretty much everything has been said. I shared the sentiments. Do thank Councilman Suggs for the detailed explanation and his second remarks about the appreciation for those of you who are coming now. The civic engagement that we're seeing in this season is necessary. Unfortunately, it brought us to this place, as he said, for measures of complaint. But your voices, they drive our decisions. And so often in our meetings, I call them the pews, but the seats are empty. And it's a good feeling seeing you fill these pews and the encouragement for you to continue. And I always have said this, commendations are good, but recommendations are better because it helps us to grow. I speak for myself, and I think I speak for some of my colleagues, some of them, I think. But we thank you for making your voices heard. Personally, and I'll speak for myself, that with the property taxes, as Pro Tem said, we all feel it. And we all know people that feel it. But unfortunately, when the decision was made, none of us knew that it would hit like this. And, I think, we were told like maybe $400. We didn't know it would hit like this. And so the honesty, my reality is this, is, when we were going through budget meetings, I threw out plans, can we look at 63%? Our goal now is to make sure that you see your budget dollars in action, and that what you're experiencing this budget season, that you're able to make it through. If it's increased in road resurfacing, decreasing some of the blight that you have to take in with your eye gates, but that we put that money to work. It's my hope and my goal, that if you can make it through this tax season, and like I said, it's a council decision, it's council, but the hope that that property tax rate can decrease, that it can decrease. But we've heard you. We thank you for sharing the stories. We thank you for using the power of your own voices, because it's your voices that move us. We need to hear from you. And once we've heard from you, we work for the pleasure of the people. I also like to say to my colleagues, again, this is the part about the importance of the civic engagement. And I feel like I need to say this to you, but I just want to say to you that I'm aware that there's this notion and that there's this idea that there are individuals who are using the power of their voices because there's relationship. As has been said, this is Kinston. And most of us know everybody that's from Kinston. Either we've worked together, either we went to school together, either I taught you, and the like. We've served on committees together. For those of you who know, and when we're in closed session, I've never been afraid to speak my truth. But I feel like I should speak to some things that I'm aware of. But never have I ever had to use anyone to speak for me. If some of you have been hurt by things that have been said, I promise you, I don't move like that. I don't move like that. And I feel like I need to say this. And for those of you who know, you know why I'm saying it. But I promise you, and I thank those of you who've asked me about some of the people that I've had relationship with, what's the deal. I appreciate that. But I want to say here tonight that no one is playing puppet master. I think it's an insult to think that people don't have their own feelings about how they want to engage civically, their concerns. But I promise you, I would never, ever move in a way that is throwing rocks and hiding hands. For those of you who've asked, that's all I've ever wanted. That's all I've ever wanted. And I just felt like I needed to say that for the sake of it being said, and so I can sleep tonight. But I promise you that if there's ever any concern, I promise, and I've said this before, I'm 50 years old. I'm looking forward to retirement. I promise you. Like some of the things that people feel like is an issue or worried about, that ain't me. That ain't me. 50 years old, 50 plus. And I promise you, it ain't that serious for us. Thank you.
Thank you to the council. I do appreciate the sentiments of everybody on the council tonight. I do appreciate that. Councilmember Swenson, 20-plus years of service. Do appreciate you and your efforts, and look forward to seeing you in some other capacity in the near future. However, Councilmember Suggs, do wish you were still here and moving forward. Do appreciate you and your efforts and everything that you've done and are doing currently with throughout the city and the many different programs that you have in place. Thank you. I just want to thank you for the city staff. The team, I do appreciate you guys. I just want to make sure I love on you even more so. However, I do appreciate the efforts that you put in every single day our finance team, the audit teams that were here that I had a discussion with the other day. I do appreciate the thoroughness of our finance team and the things that we're doing and things we have in place. I can assure you that we all take a hot seat on occasion. Mine is just every day. However, we take a look at the things and consider the way folks feel, and we move accordingly. My thing is just to make sure that you, each and every one of you, are aware of what we have going on and that you are well informed about any issue that we have in our city. And it's not hearsay or going off what somebody else is saying, however the case. And I encourage each and every one of you that if you have an issue, please don't hesitate to come down and talk to us, especially if it's city related and how we could actually give you a solution to the problem. We can all be reached very easily by internet or by city clerk, however. But I just want to say thank you, each and every one of you, for coming out, and I would love to see the same energy throughout this year and next year as it relates to civic duties in the community, not just throughout an election cycle. Understand that. I do appreciate those folks that are stepping up now, but I look forward to seeing those same individuals doing the same thing in our community out there November 4th. And I just be straight honest, right honest. I advocate every single day for our city and town, multi-million-dollar grants, however the case may be, to hopefully offset some of the things we have going on, models that we have going on in place, so trying to get the funding to put something in place. Capital improvement projects is the highest dollar amount that you can ever imagine. Water, sewer, infrastructure, $3.2 million that we got to put in the dirt, $2.1 million on one street, however the case may be, before you can even touch a road. So when people start to say, okay, what are we doing with funding? It's right there in the books. I encourage you and challenge you to take a look at our budget every single year, and I encourage you to show up when it's budget season, not just election season. Understand that. I just want everyone to be us on the same page. I do appreciate you. I love each and every one of you. And like the pastor saying, nothing you can do about it. But before we leave, let me just say this. I want to send condolences out to the family of James Percy J.P. Cawley. Mr. Cawley is not here tonight. He's our city attorney. This is Tim. This is Tim Caraway. And he's representing us on the council today. We had the honor of going to the homegoing celebration of James Percy J.P. Cawley Jr., which is Jim Cawley's father that passed away. So we send condolences to the entire beloved family, to Jim and all those that are connected to him. And would you just keep Jim in your prayers and our entire city. That's my time. Entertain a motion to adjourn. So moved by Councilmember Swenson. There's a second. Seconded by yield to the gentlewoman, Councilwoman Solomon. Under discussion. Under discussion. Under discussion. Hearing none, seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say nay. Motion carries.